I'm Wendell with the Lubbock REIA, also Minix Property Management. We're going to go ahead and get started. First, I'm going to call up Houston. Where did Houston? There he is. He's just going to do a quick market overview.
Oh, very cool. Yeah. I wonder if I have
Yes.
Perfect. My name is Houston Garrett. I'm an agent at Keller Williams. Help people buy and sell real estate. I do this like 5-minute market number presentation where you can kind of see what has gone on in Lubbock in the past month. Really. Yeah, that next one. Yeah, I just have two. So okay. Shouldn't be too complicated. Okay, so in this data, we're showing the total on market. This just kind of gives you a pulse of like what the market was January of 25 to January of 26. The market's very similar, except for solds are down and month supply of inventory has gone up. What month supply of inventory is if you were to have no new listings hit the market at all, how many months would you sell out of your current inventory? So January of 25, it was 5.6 months, and this past January, it was 6 months. A good thing, just overall encouraging, is the market's reacting. I felt like last year the market really didn't react to the amount of inventory that hit the market as far as price. We had these high prices and high inventory, and just people were wanted their price. I felt like people were not open to the fact that the market changed so rapidly and we had all this competition. So we had all this inventory that I felt like set out there, and if you wrote an offer that was under list price, it was almost like the seller was offended for some reason because you wrote an offer on their house for less than there's 5 other houses exactly like theirs on the market for the same price. Anyways, so that shows in the median sold price is down to $229,000 from $234,000, which is last year at this time it almost didn't even move. So I think that's encouraging for investors. This is off of the Lubbock Land Company does a market survey every single year. They just came out with their market survey, so I took this from their market survey, and I just thought it was very interesting. They get their data. I get my data off of MLS, which is the multiple listing service what agents use. They get their data off of building permits. They also combine, I think they use a little bit of MLS, but they put a lot of building permits and get their data from, I don't remember where they get their sold data from, but it's a little bit different. They're saying there's 6.3 months supply of inventory, and there's 14, which I thought was kind of interesting. There's 14 months of inventory between 0 to 100,000, and there's 14 months of inventory between 750 to 1 million. So I think the below 100,000, there's just a lot of properties that are available in that price range, and that's why that's high. But also that 750 to 1 million, there's a lot of houses in that range. I would say Stratford Point in those areas that are getting developed. If you're in that price point, there's, I guess, few buyers and a lot of inventory really in that. So, y'all have any questions or anything? Yeah.
Why is there such a large inventory of anything under 100,000?
I think anything under 100,000 that's probably in MLS is probably pretty rough. And so there's just a lot of inventory.
Well, you think they'd be sold pretty quick, and that would be anything less than
Yeah.
that. Just doesn't look like it makes any sense to me. But,
Yeah, I think there's just a lot available, and just there's a lot of not saying junk, but rough houses probably in that can be put in that category, and they're not selling, so it's increasing the amount of inventory would be my guess. That's what that is.
Anything under 100,000?
What is that?
Are they building anything?
Oh, they're not building anything under
It's
100,000.
strictly for something that's already in existence.
Yep, all this is already in existence. So I don't know where they pull that data. It's pretty accurate. their month supply of inventory is just like 0.3 different from mine, from MLS data, so yeah, they,
Is that a typo? I mean, the 0 to 100, should that be 100 to 150? And the first line
yes, it
0
is,
to
yeah,
100?
it is, yeah. It is.
So 100 to 150 is the,
It's 0 to 100,000. Yeah, 0 to 100,000. And yeah, it's how they have it laid out. Well, I have it laid out like that. So 0 to 100. And then they put 150 to 200. So yeah.
what's the cheapest Bevo house?
So have you seen the new ones that have come out that are 700 square feet with no garage? Those are there's some, it's called Matador Point. There's some that they're building there. And so they have a cottage that's like 2,000 square feet with a 1-car garage. And then they have one, and I think that's going to be like 140, 135.
Wow.
Dan Williams bought 4 for 140,000 out here in Matador Point.
Say that again?
I thought that Dan Williams bought 4 for 140,000.
Yeah, they're like 100. They're like 140 with some incentives, so they'll probably have like five grand in incentives, 5 or 7 grand in incentives. But I remember 2 years ago, you could buy a 2 with a 1-car garage in the Harvest for 140, for like 145. So yeah. And I think that the reason why they're starting that floor plan is they're going to be forced to, because Lennar is going to start building that floor plan, and that's their bread and butter. So they're trying to get ahead of
You
that.
can tell everyone who that is.
It's another home builder, like a D.R. Horton or a national home builder. They've bought two big sections, maybe 3. They have land behind Bell Farms. They have land on the north side of town, and then I think they have some land in Wolfforth. And so they've really started on the north side of town, and that's why they built that floor plan.
So is their MO cheap houses?
Their MO is like, yeah, D.R. Horton, and the floor plan of, they build, basically the Beat and Bow model, or the D.R. Horton model, affordable housing, but they really just built a ton of these 800 square foot drive up houses, like they build a lot, but affordable. And then they have like the Beat and Bow model where they put the same kind of floor plan and mix it into the neighborhood. So they go from like 800 square feet to like their biggest one is probably like 28 or 2,700 square feet. So it's going to be the range. And they're going to develop that whole, they buy like one section of land and do the whole development. Yeah, I'd be like D.R. Horton and Lennar, like 1 and 2 in the nation.
But I guess, I don't know of any D.R. Horton houses here that are that cheap.
No. Because a lot of D.R. Horton's houses that they're building, they're buying from the developer. They're not developing the land themselves. So they have to, those subdivisions that D.R. Horton is buying from, the developers are already in it they're going to need 50 grand a lot, and they can't build a $140,000 house on a 50 grand lot, or the deed restrictions, they're trying to not do that, basically.
Are all of these new subdivisions you're talking about within city limits?
Yeah, all within city limits, yeah. So, like Lincoln 16 would be like Frankfurt and 4th. If you go more north, Matador Point is Beebo's new neighborhood, or Erskine. Erskine in Frankfurt would be Lincoln 16. And then you go more north, that's Matador Point. And that's, I believe the land that Lennar has is like by XFAB on the north side of town, from what I'm familiar with.
Is that gonna crush the rental market?
Wendell can ask you if it will or not. I think they're
If they're
overbuilding
all
stuff.
rentals, yes. I can talk more on that if y'all really.
We had someone, I would say, come in town the last couple of years and built a ton of built-to-rent product, and it really just crushed those areas. If you own houses close to those areas, you just got smashed.
All right. Thank you, Houston.
Yeah.
We'll go ahead and move on. All right. Wrong way. So, we got something exciting, and the person who got this all set up is going to give us a little bit more information about this. So, this is Erin. So, she does a lot of the behind the scenes and basically everything for the Lubbock REIA. She's awesome. So, your turn.
Yeah, so if you were here last time, we announced that we have an app. And at that time, we didn't have it on stores, but you can access it still by going to LubbockREIA.com. Well, we now have it on Google Play. So if you have an Android, you can go ahead and download that. We are going to have it on Apple. If you've ever worked with Apple support, you know how fun they are to work with. So that's still pending, but we're working on it. In the meantime, if you do have an iPhone, you can just go to LubbockREIA.com, and then that middle button that looks like a share button, click it, and then you scroll down, and you can say add to home screen, and it's going to put an icon on your home screen just like an app. So even if you have joined via the QR code or from past meetings, I encourage you to get in and create an account on this app and through the new website. It has events, it has past meetings, it has calculators that were custom made for the Lubbock market. And then we have a community forum that we really want to start using, but we need participation. So that's big. And that has all of our sponsor discounts. So I'll let you talk about our sponsors. Yeah.
Again, this app is free. Yes, Michael.
Quick question. Can you integrate title policy, or like another calculator for that into y'all's platform?
Yeah.
We can add whatever we need to add. I do think it's a process that has to go through approval. Creating an app was a challenge and fun event, but yes, we can.
I mean, I feel like it would be beneficial for anyone to be able to just do it. Hey, I got sales price on the contract, fire pay all closing costs, how much am I going to absorb? This is the title policy fee. That's something that we offer on our website, so y'all are more than welcome to go. We also have, and then title, we have a Agent One too as another app from the title company to be able to access. But even if you got there, just being able to have it all in one stop shop.
Yeah, absolutely. So just a reminder, this app is completely free. On the calculators right now, we have a DSCR calculator. Your lenders are going to want to see a certain ratio there before they'll lend you money, so that's super easy to use. We've got a flip calculator, a rent calculator, and a rehab calculator, all free right there. And whenever you fill it all out, it's super simple, like you're walking a property, like the repair calculator, you just fill it in, and then you can also save it to the app, and so you can reference it later. And so it's super cool. But as a sponsor, actually all the sponsors, if y'all don't mind just coming up here real quick. So none of this is possible without them. I just want to, y'all just do a quick intro of who you are, and then we'll move on. So, Houston,
Yeah, I feel like y'all heard my spiel.
Sean Benson. I own Sean Benson Insurance Agency, and a big portion of our clientele are investors. And I tell people that I'm not an insurance agent that has rental properties. I'm a real estate investor that owns an insurance agency. So we focus on getting you insured, commercial. It can be builder's risk. If it's hardly standing at all, we can insure it, and then we move it to long-term rental or Airbnb and so forth. But yeah, we can do it same day, a couple of hours. Sometimes I get calls, need it in 2 hours. We can do it. So if you have rental properties, you want to shop it, even if you're not with me, just let me look at it. I'll show you the cons and pros of what you have and maybe give suggestions. And of course, we're local, right here in Wilford, across from Friendship High School.
Hey guys, Michael Boulos. I am an attorney, real estate attorney, as well as run American Land Title, so I'm an escrow officer as well. So I just wear pretty much 2 hats. But all I do is just real estate all day, every day. Whether it's clearing up title and working on, loan documents, as well as preparing affidavit of airships, reviewing contracts, reviewing LLC docs. So anything that touches real estate is what I do. Things, don't get me wrong, files are tough. We'll get it closed, but it takes time. But what I deal with is a lot of just cleaning up messes for title policies to get it to closing. And then the other hat I wear is closing files. So you correspond with me on closings, and I'm making sure that everything is spot on perfect. So by the time that we get to closing, make sure you guys feel comfortable closing the documents and moving on. So, and I always tell everyone, I always give y'all the opportunity to give me a call. I get always phone calls from everyone asking me questions that are real estate related. Whether it's closing with me and not closing with me, I'll give you my honest opinion. In order to get from point A to point B, you need to do this. And I don't mind being that source of help to give it to y'all. We're all a team. Like, you got the realtors, you got the insurance guys, you got the wholesalers. We're all one big happy family, what I say. So, but yeah, that's a little bit of what I do.
I'm Jared Frankham. I'm with Electrum Properties. I'm a wholesaler. I'm also a real estate agent. And I'm also a cash buyer. So if anyone ever has any properties, definitely send them my way. And if you ever need any help running comps, or if you need software to find homeowners that are difficult to find, I've got a great slew of software and things. I'm happy to help y'all complete your first or your next deal. And also, I love to buy, so if anyone's got any good deals, let me know.
I'm Cooper Sanders. I'm with Carnco Fence, do fences, and a little bit of rehab contracting. So if you have a flip or anything, you can do flipping and fence building. So if you need a fence.
Do you stain?
I don't stain. I know people that do stain. So.
All right. Well, I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Go sit down.
Again, on the app, there's a sponsor tab to where you can actually see the discounts. All these sponsors are giving discounts, some type of special to anyone, basically anyone. And so it's completely free. Jared was talking about deals. Real quick, does anyone have any deals? We got these deal little cards on your table. Did anyone fill any of those out, or do you just have a deal you don't want to speak about?
Yes.
Okay, Jared.
A few front addresses. I've got like 3 contracts right now to sell. One in Shallow Water, one in Slayton, 2 in Slayton. No, one in Lebanon. One in Lebanon, one in Slayton, Shallow Water.
So if you're looking for properties to buy, Jared's the guy to speak to, because he's the one that finds all the deals. So go see Jared whenever we finish. Really at this time, we're going to bring Kevin and Joe up. They're our speakers tonight, and they're going to talk about the things that they do.
And we are also sponsors. We have Pinnacle Commercial Lending.
I'll let you get inside.
If you want, it's up here, all the same. Okay, so we have Pinnacle Commercial Lending. We do hard money loans. We do 30-year fixed rate loans, and a few other type of loans as well. Let me get started. Okay. So obviously, everyone wants to be a successful real estate investor. That's why you're here. You're gonna make a lot of money. Here's 3 famous ones. We're going to talk about how you get financing, how you get deals done, how you get to closing. Each one of these 3 got started very different ways. One of them got a loan from a family member. One did creative finance. One got partnerships and got a bank loan. So it's very different. We're going to talk about all that in just a little bit. So, but before you become the next famous TV personality with millions of dollars in real estate, you have to know the magic formula. And I harp on this all the time because this is a great formula. So, magic formula is the maximum you should pay for a property is the after repair value. So after you fix up the property, what is it worth? What's the market value if it's in great shape? You multiply that number times 70%, and then you subtract the budget. And that's the maximum you should pay. That's a safe formula for almost every deal you can look at. And here's some more fun math. So if you have a house that's gonna be worth $100,000 after you fix it up, multiply it by 70, you obviously get $70,000. You subtract your $20,000 rehab budget, and the maximum you should pay is $50,000. What you're gonna find out is you're gonna look at a bunch of properties, and you'll just get a few of them. So that's just the way it is. When my wife and I started looking way back when, we looked at a ton of properties, put out a lot of offers, got rejected, and then all of a sudden we had two actually got accepted at the exact same time. So I don't recommend doing 2 rehabs to start your real estate career at the same time, but it's sometimes it happens. Okay. So what is the easiest way to buy a property? Hey, what is it? That's right. So I'm a 7th grader, and we have the same maturity level when it comes to jokes and humor. So that's you'll see a little bit of that. So yeah, pay cash. It's easy. So if you got $100,000 sitting around, you set aside to invest in real estate, you can buy a $100,000 property. It's that easy. You don't have to get mad at a banker or any financing or an appraiser or anything. You can just go buy it, close. It's very simple. So that works for a few people. But if you want to leverage it, obviously, most people get loans, and instead of buying one property, they might buy 5 or 6 or multiple properties. So what's another way to buy property?
Line of credit.
Well, first, let me give you all a hint. Look around and look right across the way to the building. Bank financing. That's right. Bank financing. So bank financing varies, and there's what I consider bank financing. It's credit unions, it's community banks, and it's big banks. Those are the 3 categories in my mind that I have. Credit unions, some don't do any investment properties, some do fairly decent deals on investment properties. They're highly inconsistent. So I would be leery of using them, especially if you have a reasonable deadline. Community banks, Lubbock is blessed with a lot of community banks. Several have been bought out, and I don't consider them community banks anymore. But the community banks are a good resource. We recommend Western Bank. They're headquartered here in Lubbock. I used to work with the bank president. He's a real nice guy. They're reasonable. If you need to start a relationship if you want to get a bank loan, so what you do is open up a checking account. You can go right here. Western Bank is a sponsor. You get a free business checking account, and first order checks, they're free. So a lot of banks charge monthly fees for your bank accounts and obviously for checks. So go talk to Tyler. He's the loan officer here. Just start that relationship, open up a bank account, and then when you make deposits, go inside, say hi every so often, just so you're not a stranger whenever you need that loan. So bank financing, let me talk about big banks. I don't recommend big banks. They work for a few people. If you're getting started, it's definitely not the place to start. Okay, so bank financing. Every bank has different philosophies on community banks. They generally loan up to 80% of the value. The LTV is loan to value. So if the property is worth $100,000, they'll loan up to $80,000. Or the lesser of loan to cost. So if your cost is $100,000, they'll still go $80,000. But if you get a great deal, they won't give you credit for that. They'll make you put down 20% typically. So that's 20% down payment is fairly common. It could be a little bit higher, a little bit lower.
So if the cost is 100 and the value is 120, they're only do 80.
Correct. So most of the time. Amortization. If you term out a loan, typically they go 15 or 20 years on bank loans, which is, it's reasonable. Obviously, 30 years helps your cash flow a little bit, but 15 and 20 years is what they typically do. So a lot of banks have balloons. They mature the loan after a few years. Please try to avoid that. You're asking for trouble because you don't know the bank might get bought out and they don't want to do any more of those loans. So they may call your note and may make you move banks and put you under pressure or cause all sorts of headaches for you. Also, in the best case scenario, it matures, they're going to charge you an appraisal, a title search, and then they'll probably throw a fee on there as well. So it just costs you more money for no reason. It'd be preferable if you just did a variable rate. Have a 15 or 20 year maturity and just have the rate change. Because if you go refinance it, it's going to be that rate anyways. So that's what I strongly suggest. So banks, they're going to underwrite you. They're going to look at you first before the property. They don't want to own any properties ever. So they're going to look at you, put your credit, get your tax returns, your bank statements, credit report, everything. And then they'll look at the property second if you pass. So that underwriting sometimes takes a little time. What Wendell said earlier, lines of credit are an option. Most lines of credit, when you start, they're going to be secured by a property that is free and clear, that doesn't have a lien. Over time, if you build up your net worth and you're one of those guys on the beginning slide that I showed, you can get an unsecured line of credit, and then you get a lot of options. Then you can really buy a property, fix it up, and then refinance it out, and pay down your line of credit, and you can do that with very little money out of pocket. So that's a future option for most borrowers. So, real quick, pros, moderate closing costs. Banks are kind of middle. They'll charge you a full appraisal typically, not all the time. Sometimes they do BPOs or something less expensive. They do some sort of origination charge and some other fees along the way. They're easier. These bank loans are typically easier to get than a 30-year fixed rate loan on the term out loans. The rate is going to be tied to Wall Street Journal Prime, which is at 6.75% right now. So they'll do 1 over or 2 over prime typically when you get started. So you're looking at 7.75 all the way up to 8.75 for your initial rate. So what are the cons? Your length is only 15 or 20 years on a term out instead of 30 years. Your rate will change, it won't be fixed. Hardly any banks or financial local community banks or even credit unions fix loans for the entire length of the loan. And the bank underwriting is extensive. So it'll take time on your first one especially. So what does that mean? It means you might not close on time. You might lose the deal or you have to do extensions. Close. All right. Another way to buy property. Instead of looking that way, you can just look at the front. So anyone want to guess what this one is? No, close. That's him.
Hard money.
I think he's being funny. Yes, hard money. So what do we do? What does Kevin and Joe do when we loan money? We loan up to 75% of the ARV. That's the biggest limitation on what we loan. So if you buy a good deal, we'll give you credit for it. You have less money down, just make it easy. We look at the property first. Before we look at you, we look at you, but we don't look at you the same as a bank will look at you. We look at the property. Are they buying a good deal that makes sense? Again, 75% of the ARV. Then we look at the borrower. Does the borrower know what they're doing? Do a minor underwriting of the borrower. We don't get tax returns. It's pretty straightforward. Fast and easy. That's what hard money is. It's a lot easier to get. It's fast. We can close quickly if needed. And then something Jared said a little while ago, he says, I buy properties with cash. You can go say that when you go buy a property. Say, I buy property, I'll pay cash on your offer. And that makes a big difference. And then you get us to finance it because we can close just as fast as cash. Almost as fast. But typically we can move pretty fast.
What's the fastest y'all ever funded?
I don't want to say because then it sets the expectation. So yeah. So
just tell them 14 minutes.
yeah, 2 weeks is great. The record for us, I think, is 3 days. So from, yeah, but I feel bad for even saying that because now everyone just hears 3 days instead of 2 weeks. 2 weeks is better.
We're gonna lie to you and tell you there's title problems that we got.
Yeah, American land titles tough. Yeah, title issues. So, but we can typically move pretty quick, and it takes some time to get the title ready. So, let's see. Okay, so we do have higher fees and rates than bank financing. So, but ideally, it's a short-term loan. Interest rate shouldn't matter very much because you buy it, fix it up, you either sell it or refinance it relatively quick. And it's less money down than a bank. If you're buying it right, it's less money down. So we go up to 75% of the future value. So that if you use the magic formula we talked about earlier, you'll have minimal money down. So bank versus hard money. I know this is repetitive, so I'll jump through there real quick. Purchase price, if you buy a property for $150, your rehab's $50,000, the total cost is obviously $200,000. Your bank loan is 80% of that, which is $160,000. So your down payment is $40,000. So that's fairly standard. That's a little bit expensive for a Lubbock rental property, but that gives you an idea of just what the numbers look like. So hard money loan purchase is $150,000, same numbers, rehab $50,000, total cost of $200,000. Your hard money loan is $185,000 with the assumption you bought it right, and your down payment is $15,000. So you can leverage it more with hard money versus the bank, but the bank may be a better solution for you. You just have to, or cash might be the best solution for you. It just depends what's best for your situation. So bank ROI, there's a lot of numbers, so I'm gonna go through extremely fast. And then I'll hand it off to Kevin here in a second. So return on investment, everybody has probably heard of that. That's what the return, annual return on the money that you put in is to you. So if you put in $100,000, it's 10%, you get $10,000 a year. So your return on investment is higher if you leverage it up. And this is, our average loans pay off in 6 months, so really you could double the ROI because it's technically a 6-month loan. So return on investment on this scenario is 50% with the bank loan and 83% with a hard money loan. So you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I was going to put Michael Scott, but it's Wayne Gretzky. But this is just, I'm biased. I was in banking for a long time and, doing hard money now. The advantage of us being able to close quickly is you don't miss out on closings. And you can offer cash offers. So that really is a benefit that we offer. So anybody have any questions?
Is there any early payoff penalties?
There's not. No. We have an origination fee and we charge interest monthly. So if you pay us off in 60 days, you pay us 60 days of interest. So it's pretty straightforward. We're very straightforward lenders. We're local, we're Lubbock based. We'll tell you if we think you're messing up. We'll tell you not to do it. I mean, it's just, we view it as more of a partnership. Some of our, there's national lenders that do what we do. They never close on time, first of all, and then they bait and switch a lot. A lot of them are brokers that try to find someone to fund it, so they're not even a funder. They find someone else to fund it, so they make us look really good.
So do you consider hard money lending, is that more of a short-term
Yeah.
situation opposed to a long-term?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So we do 9-month loans,
Okay.
interest only, and we have draws. You give us a contract and a budget. We go out and do evaluation, and then we set up a draw process after closing where, we give you $10,000, and then you request a second $10,000. We'll go do an inspection to make sure that first $10,000, the work was done. So that's kind of how that works.
What if you don't want to use any rehab? What if you just want to buy a property and keep it as is?
Well, then you have to put, if you're buying a good deal, that's fine. But if you buy market price, you have to put down 25%. So that's, if you get a good deal, it benefits you to do hard money. So we also do 30-year fixed rate loans for investment properties, long-term rentals and short-term rentals.
20% down, something like that.
On purchase, yes. On purchase is 20% down. I'm getting off in the weeds. Does everybody, show of hands, know what BRRRR is? B-R-R-R? Okay, it's buy, rehab, rent, and refinance. So if you go that route, you can refinance into a 30-year loan with minimal money down. Anything else? And sit down now, not be in the sun.
Okay, so there are a couple of options if you don't really have money that we're going to talk about. And this is Joe's side because Joe's way funnier. So, but if you don't have any money and you just want to sleep all day, you're not going to take action, you will have problems. So, one of the things that you can do is owner finance or seller finance. And so there's really two types of owner finance. So I want to make sure we're on the same page when we talk about owner finance, okay? So the owner finance we're going to talk about tonight is finding a seller that's willing to sell you their house and carry the note for you, okay? As opposed to another owner finance, which is you already own the house and you are going to find a buyer and you will carry the note for them, okay? So tonight, it's you're looking for a property, okay? And let's say you have no money, but this is one way that you can get properties and really set yourself up in a way that you can create some pretty nice cash flow. When you're doing this strategy, it's real important to build a relationship and build rapport with the people that you're going to be dealing with, okay? You need to ask a lot of questions to build trust. I would not right off the bat just talk about the house, okay? Ask them questions about their life. Talk to them. Get information that way. Try to understand their situation, because their situation is going to give you information on maybe a strategy of owner finance, or maybe, there's a way that you can create a solution. You're always going to be looking for solutions, all right? The more tools you have in your tool bag will help you negotiate, okay? So one of these is owner finance, okay? If they are in a pickle, okay, they're in a very difficult situation, just know that they need to find a solution, okay? They're going to have probably, if they're getting ready to be foreclosed on, they're probably going to have a lot of people throwing offers at them. And they're all going to be what Joe talked about earlier, right? 70%. And if that's your only strategy, you're going to miss out on a lot of deals, because you're just going to throw out an offer like everybody else, and they're just going to, you're just one of many. They'll just throw your card to the pile, right? So try to learn as many strategies as possible, especially this one. I think this is a very, very good strategy. So build trust, try to figure out what they need, what their problem is. And then what eventually you'll do is you'll give them two offers, okay? You'll give them the offer that everybody else is giving them, which is 70% roll, right? It's a low ball offer, but you have to do that in order for it to be a good investment, okay? The next thing you're going to offer them is terms. So terms, who can tell me what I mean by terms? Does anybody know what that means?
Basically, you're giving the price that they want, but the terms are more on your side. So you're going to give them the down payment, and based on if there's a mortgage or if it's straight clear, you're going to structure something out for the equity. The terms will basically define how long that thing's going to go, if there's going to be balloon involved, interest rate, and that sort of thing.
Exactly. Yep. So this offer is not necessarily a number, okay, right off the bat. because you're trying to find out what they need. You should have already done your homework, by the way, of what this house should be worth if it's fixed up, okay? You also should have an exit strategy in mind before you go into this strategy and go talk to these people, okay? Because depending on what they say, you might have to pivot into, okay, is this going to be a rental? Or maybe this is going to be an owner finance a different way. Or maybe it's just such a great deal, there's not a lot of work, I'm going to flip this thing, okay? And your numbers will change based upon what you think you're going to do with that particular property, okay? So, let's kind of break this down a little bit. When you're going in and talking to these sellers, all right, you have to understand they're not very educated on real estate. They may be the smartest person in the world, but for what we do, they probably don't understand. So just throwing out terms is going to freak them out, right? Well, you want to do this and you be the owner and I'll just do it. That's not the way to do this strategy. They will freak out and say, no, get out of my house, you crazy loon. I want my money and I want it now and I've got to get out of this situation. Getting back to what I talked about before, the importance of building rapport, building a relationship, trying to figure out what they need. Like I talked about before, they've had other offers more than likely, if they're in foreclosure or whatever. They're going to already have their defenses up. And two, you got to think about this. Don't you think they might be a little embarrassed? They might be a little embarrassed too. So you have to have compassion for that. And if you're just a hardcore, person, they're not going to entertain this strategy with you. They're going to want to get you out as quickly as they can. So your terms offer needs to be way more appealing than the cash offer, because they've heard the cash offer 1,000 times. More than likely, you may be the first one that gives them a cash offer. And then if it's you that's giving them that cash offer, they might have a heart attack right in front of you and say, there's no way I can do that, So getting back to that understanding their situation, I'm going to stress that tonight, because some of the questions you need to ask them is, hey, is there a mortgage on this? Do you guys have a mortgage still? Okay, all right. And I understand you may be behind on payments or something, because that's going to change a little bit of this strategy. Okay, this might turn into a sub-2 deal. Sub-2, y'all have heard of that strategy before, okay? Instead of an owner finance type of deal or seller finance, okay? So understand this strategy is probably better if they own the house free and clear, okay? You can really get into a lot of different ways to do the owner finance, but what you want to do is you want to give them some options instead of one offer. You want to talk with them about, hey, if I gave you a cat, it does need this and it needs this, and so if I offered you a price, I don't want to insult you, but there are things I've got to make a profit. But if I need to give you this money today and you have to get out of it, this would be my offer, and that's your lowball offer. If you want, I have another option. I don't even know if you'd be interested, okay? But it's kind of tied to time, and so if I can have this more time to pay you off, then I might be able to give you a lot more for your house. So have you ever heard of like seller finance or owner finance? And they may say, well, kind of, that's your moment that you start educating them, okay? You need to make sure you're teaching them what this is and how this can benefit them and why this is a good strategy. Because if they understand it, then it's going to be a good deal for them, because you're going to be able to give them, in many cases, you're going to be able to give them exactly what they're asking for. You'll be able to give them 100% of whatever, or at least more than what anybody else has given them, okay, an offer. So let's kind of get into how we're going to do that. So, if go ahead, yes.
Another big thing that I've been seeing lately is even if you ask them if they have a mortgage and they say they have a mortgage, ask them if they have a HUD mortgage. If they have a, I've had like maybe 3 or 4 deals get shot down, killed from wholesalers because there was a HUD on the back end. And you may just want to say, do you remember taking out a secondary loan when you got the first loan? Because the amount that they borrow at the very beginning will be the same exact amount that the payoff is going to be like. And it's just going to be tacked on at the very top.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to wholesale the deal, you get under contract for $80,000. He says, I'll take 65. He thinks the seller's going to think he's going to make $15,000 in profit, and then he find out there's a $20,000 partial HUD. He's not going to walk out with anything.
Yeah.
And then the deal's shot.
And then it'll blow up the whole deal.
Yeah.
So, brings up a good point. Solar panels.
Equity strippers, the enemy.
Just if they owe anything, and they have a solar panel, just walk away. I mean, solar panels are the death of equity, like you said. They're just, we won't even lend on them. We just know that there's going to be a problem. There's always, and they have these huge second liens that they put on houses. So if you see it, you just know that you're going to have problems. It's just not worth it. Go ahead.
They're purchased and they're not on lease, right?
Say it again. What?
That's only when the panels are being purchased and they're not, when they're on lease, and it's easier, I guess.
It depends on the terms of the, I don't know. I've just never had any good experience. I mean, that may be a deal, but to me, there's way more deals out there to deal with than have to deal with these silly solar panels, because people put them on, and here's the funny thing, and this is a side note too, it's a sidebar, but think about this. You get this lien on your house, okay? What is the average time that somebody stays in a home? 4 to 7 years. You're not going to have it paid off by then. And you have this lien on your house, and it's just complete. So I hate those things. But anyways, there are other liens that can be on the house that you may have to negotiate. So for instance, let's say they, there's a mechanic's lien, or they've put a pool in, or they've, those are all things that they're not going to think about, that there might be a lien on the house. So you're still going to have to do your due diligence and find out before you actually, close on it. Make sure that those things aren't there, because that will screw up the deal, because they're going to expect one thing, and then you come back and say, oh, there's you put a pool in, or you did solar panels, and it's $30,000. So you will, by asking those questions up front, you'll get better at it and know what to ask. Are there any liens? Did you ever have any work done on the house? Yeah, I did. Well, what'd you have done? Oh, a full kitchen remodel. Oh, good. How long ago was that? Oh, well, it was last year. You're thinking, okay, I better check to see if they got paid, all right? Or if somebody put a mechanic's lien on the property. If there is a lender, there may be some back payments that need to be paid off. There's also back taxes. Check the taxes. They may not have paid their taxes yet. You're going to have to pay those taxes or help them, because they obviously can't. So these are things that you need to find out before you actually go into the house. Like taxes and things that you can find out. The other stuff you'll ask questions and find out afterwards. But try this strategy mainly with free and clear properties. But you have to ask those questions to know for sure if it's free and clear. Okay. So let's take the cash offer. We're taking $150,000, 70%. Okay, minus rehab. Your offer on that house, $85,000. Okay. And that's what you would offer them. So when you're talking to them about terms, and you're saying, I think I can, maybe offer you. I said, but I would act like, I'm not sure I'm going to do this with this. I might be able to help you out a little bit more, but I just want to see if you're even interested, you know. Okay, yeah, you may be interested in owner finance. You kind of explained it. And here's the deal, you know, I can give you a full price offer, and the payment on that, I'll pay you, in this instance here, you know, we're going to pay you $500 a month. And is that something that you could do? That's what I'd like to pay you each month. And then they're like, well, okay, yeah, that's fine. And then you'll know that you have $375 in taxes. But you're going to do this at 0% interest, okay? When you do it at 0% interest, what happens every time you pay them $500? Principal goes down, okay? All of it, all right? That's huge, because if you can get it set up on a 20-year or 30-year loan with them, and you're paying $500 a month, do you know how fast you're going to pay down that house? Pretty doggone fast, right? They may say, well, I don't want to go 30 years, okay? So then you can offer a balloon. So you say, okay, well, you know, how long would you be willing to go? And they say, well, maybe, you know, I need my money, you know, I need, 5 years. So then you just put a balloon on it in 5 years. Well, if you do the calculations, at $500, okay, dollars a month for 5 years, you've just built in $30,000. You paid down the house $30,000 in equity, okay? But in a 5-year time period, do most houses go up or down? They're probably in 5 years, you're going to go up. So you're going to have more than $30,000 in equity, okay? You haven't put anything into this property, all right? So this is all in how you can negotiate with them. There are people that are a little more savvy, okay? You're going to have to know how to talk with them, because they may say, well, aren't you going to put a down payment down? I'm like, why? No. Why would I put a down payment down? Well, bank, they require a down payment. How are you going to handle that objection? Okay, what would you say?
What would I say?
Yeah, what would you say?
I would say, well, I didn't realize you're a bank. If you're a bank, I expected to be treated like a bank customer.
There it is, right there. So banks have different terms, right? Different things. So there's ways to do it, and I wish I had more time. We could do a whole class just on how to really negotiate these things. I'm trying to give you a higher level of ways that you can start thinking about and realizing, hey, I may be able to get some of these houses this way. A lot of them will say, well, are you going to pay me any interest? And again, we get back to the bank question. You say, well, go ahead, what were you going to say? Okay. You're not really a bank, and I'm giving you way more on your house than what it's worth. What it's worth is this 85, what I'm going to pay you for it, this 70% minus rehab, right? That's what it's worth. That's what I can pay you today. But I need time. I need more time to pay you the full price. Okay? So the longer we have to push this out, we're going to do it for 30 years. And I'll tell you what, if we can do this for the full 30 years, all right, it's cash flow for you each month. You're eventually going to get it all. Okay? But if we can do it for the full 30 years, I'll give you 110% of what you're asking. You can actually give them more than what they were asking. Yes, sir?
When I phrase it to them, I say bake in the interest.
What is it?
I say bake in the interest.
Yeah.
Right? When I give them both, that seems to help the sellers kind of understand, like they're going to get their money.
and you already have it baked in for them. That's a great strategy. Did y'all hear that? So in their mind, they're thinking, okay, well, I'm getting an extra 10% on the sale, so I'll be more apt to do that. So there's ways to negotiate these things. Oh yeah, go ahead.
In your example there, just so everyone knows, if you paid $500 a month for 30 years, you're going to pay them $180,000, which is $30,000 more than what they want in this example, and that's how much more they're going to get in this example.
Yeah.
And so if you're able to do the math, which is real quick and easy, you just paid them $30,000 more.
Yeah. So here's where it gets really cool too, is you're going to rent that house out. Let's say the 1% rule. Everybody know what that is, right? Okay. It's 150,000. We're going to do $1,500 a month. That's what you can get in that area. Look at your cash flow. Okay. You rent for $1,500 a month, and you're paying $500 a month plus the $375 in taxes and insurance. You're cash flowing $625 a month. Plus, every month you're paying down a large amount of principal. Okay. So this is really, and this is with no money. No money. Okay? You can do that. People are doing this all the time. So there are a lot of houses out there that are free and clear. Go ahead. Yeah.
Do the math again. In that same time, you paid them $180,000. You made $225,000. Plus, you have a house that's worth.
It's going up in value.
That's going up in value.
And you're not mentioning this either, depreciation off your taxes. You get to write that off.
Over 5 years, you can slowly raise your rent rates as well. I mean,
Oh, that's true too.
so you're
Yeah.
just going to make property.
Yeah, it depends on the market, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What questions on this strategy? Anybody have some questions? Yes.
What about like the legalities behind it? Like, do you need to like have a lawyer to like negotiate the
Great question.
contract?
I wish we had one in this room.
Yeah. This one, I don't know about this one up front. We use Michael for everything. So, very good question. That's where us as investors, we need to understand the process because you're going to have to explain that to them. You will get a contract, all right? You'll sell it. They're going to be the lender, okay? The attorney, just tell them you'll have an attorney draw, to their light. As long as they're comfortable, you'll let them review the documents or whatever. We'll close at a title company. All that tells them you're professional, there's neutral parties involved, and everything's going to be okay. All right. But you need to understand that you have to ask, you have to help them understand the process and answer questions that they don't know they need to ask. You're going to keep the property insured. You're going to add them as additional insured, or what they call mortgagee. So you'll get insurance, but you want to make sure you're going to add them. When you tell them that, so that way if something happens and it burns down or whatever, I want you to be protected. So you'll get your loan paid off with me. So that makes them feel fantastic. Okay? So those are all the things you need to understand about how to close the loan. But really all you need is a great title company, all right? And you need a great attorney. And they can drop all the documents for you and help you too. So it's a great question. Go ahead.
I just closed a house just like this a month ago today, but I shared my
Please,
case
yeah,
study.
absolutely.
So, so the address is 6924 11, if anyone just wants to look it up. The house was built a year ago, and it was a sweet lady who had bought it free and clear. Her husband passed away, didn't want, it's a 3-bed, 2-bath house, 1,500 square feet. She just wants something smaller that she didn't have to maintain. Right now, I think she paid $230 for it. I don't remember exactly. I think she paid $230 for it a year ago. If she was to sell it on the market today, even for what she paid for it, she would lose money due to paying agent fees, closing costs, etc. Plus, the market's down, like what Houston was showing. It would not sell on the market for what she paid for it. So she would be at brand new house, 14 months, still in a builder order. So I gave her a cash price, and we told her, look, you're going to hate this. This is, don't do this. But if we were to buy it cash, because this is where we're coming, and we have to make a living off of this, and this is where we, now I do what's called a minimum offer, which I get a piece of paper, and we'll draw a line down the middle and say, for cash or a payment plan. I don't like to use big fancy bank words or lender words. I just say payment plan. And exactly like what he was saying over there about what does build you in interest? What if I could throw you in 15% interest, essentially 15% over the price of what she paid for the house. So she's gonna make more off of it. 0%. She moved into a small 2-bedroom house near Shadow Hills Golf Course. And basically she just wanted our payment to cover her rent, which is $1,250. And that ended up being over 16 years. So get a brand new house for $1,250 a month, no down payment. I mean, literally your exact example. It's real life. I love what she brought us up. It's exactly the same. And to her, I'm so glad you brought that up too. We like removed all the constricting deed restrictions and things, where we didn't even put her on the insurance in case if it burnt down. Not that I'm trying to rip her off, but I don't want to chase this lady down and try to get her signed in case I need to get my roof replaced. So I tend to keep the property insured, but we just put stuff out so you can even have control over what goes on the deed. You don't bring it up, don't, you know what I mean, don't show your hand, but man, it's amazing what you can do, and it was a perfect win for her. She even invited me over to come see her new place and show me her view from the back porch and gave me a hug and this and that. Like,
one thing I'm going to tell you about Jared, the reason Jared is so good and the reason she invited him over is because I promise you, he negotiated that deal when he met her because he was friendly, probably loved on her a little bit, asked her good questions. Reminded her grandson. But he built rapport, I promise you, because that's what he does. And he's friendly to people. He's not just a, you've got to do that with this strategy and make them feel comfortable. Another point that you were making, terms-wise, the beauty of this is it's your terms. They may not agree to it, and they may negotiate a little bit, but it's your terms, okay? Because they don't really know. Now, I always want to, maybe it's because of my lending side, but I want them to have the insurance. One, it gives them peace of mind. But you don't have to, like Jared said, it's if you don't want to deal with it or whatever, you don't have to. There are people out there though that will do the wrong thing. I know Jared won't. If something happened, he's going to make sure she's taken care of. It's not. But there are a lot of bad people out there that wouldn't. Okay, so anything you can make them feel comfortable with, we're going to insure the property. Your name's going to be on that insurance. They will love that. But it's your terms. You can take out the deal on sale clause. Isn't that cool? Yeah. Right? We all have deal on sale clauses in our lending, but you can put that in there if you want or not. You decide. Okay. Something else I was going to say. I was going to go back to. Okay. The last point down here. Any terms that are negotiated with the seller that are better than a bank is probably going to be a pretty good deal. Okay. So the first owner finance deal that I did. The guy was very savvy, like very savvy. Okay, but he, I got into the property. Actually, it was 5 of them. I got into them with no money down. Okay, and he financed it for 35 years. Okay. At 5.5% interest. So it was more than what I wanted to do, but he was very savvy. He was not gonna, he knew what he was doing. But that was way better than I was getting at a bank. There wasn't a bank that was going to do a 30-year loan or a 35-year loan, right, at 5.5%. I mean, who would do that deal? Who would do that deal?
As a bank.
No, if someone offered you with 35 years and fixed rate 5.5%, would you do that deal? And you had equity in them. I had equity in them, but all day, right? But it's not this deal that I'm talking about. Don't get fixated on just the one way to do it. You have to, be willing to, wobble a little bit. Okay, so the last one that we're going to talk about, this is my favorite one, okay? Because, if you can borrow from family and friends, private lending, this is a home run, okay? You can find people that need to put their money. There are people right now that have CDs that are making 3.5%, 4%. They were up to 5%, right? But they're only going to keep going down. But they've got a lot of money in CDs. And if you can talk with them and show them what you do and give them a great rate of return, they become a really good lending partner for you. And that's one of the first ways I got started. Is I found a couple. They had some CD money. They still invest with me today. In fact, they invest with Jerry. And they're great people, and they love it. But they do loans with us. They're out there, and when you talk to them, and they know you know what you're talking about, your goal is just to protect their money. So the more you know and the more you understand about real estate, okay, the more you can talk it, it's easier to go raise capital. You can talk to people about it and show them how they're going to be protected. They just want to be protected and make a good rate of return. And I guarantee you they can make, if you got a 7.5% or 8% loan from a private lender and you didn't have to put any money in the deal, that's a pretty good deal, right? And they provide all of the capital, the purchase and the rehab. We're going to put us out of business, right? That's a great way to do it. Question you have?
But it wasn't a question on the state that everything that I actually own, whether it's real estate or business, is all from private money.
From private money. It's out there.
I've never seen it go.
It's out there. Joe actually put this part on the slide. I have to give him credit because I told you he's funnier than I am. But if it goes wrong, you don't know what you're doing, it can make Thanksgiving meals really uncomfortable if it's a family member. So do friends first and then family. When you do this strategy, again, it's kind of like talking to that borrower or that seller that's going to do owner finance for you. You need to explain exactly what you're going to do and how they're going to be protected. Talk about the insurance. Talk about the loan docs being prepared. Talk about, it's going to close at a title company. You talk about the value is going to go up once it's rehabbed. They're going to have equity in there, and you get to determine how much. So you can say, well, and we'll go up to 80%, or we'll go up to 90%, or you're going to do it 100%. But you can do whatever you want. But just think about if you're on the other side of that conversation, what's going to make you feel comfortable? Okay. That's what I would do, is I would sit down and say, okay, what's going to make me feel comfortable if I were to loan somebody some money, right? How much equity? Do you know why banks tell you to put money down? Does anybody know the reason? Anybody have any idea?
Skin in the game.
Skin in the game, right? And it helps with the risk of the loan, right? So that's why we do up to 75% of the after repair value. In fact, when that house is first purchased for us, it's the riskiest time when they start demoing because the value drops about 30%. That's why we have to charge a little bit higher rates. Where a bank won't do that. You have $1 million property, you're still going to put 20% down no matter what. If you buy it $100,000, you're still going to put $20,000 into that property, okay? That keeps you from running from, from the property and just walking away. So give them the same expectations that you would have. Make sure they understand that. This is the cool thing, the rate, and I put fees in there, but don't give yourself any fees, all right? Don't pay any origination fees. They don't even know about that stuff, okay? Just do the rate, okay? And you can negotiate that. You can tell them up front, hey, I can give you 8%, or I can give you 6%, depending on the market. Or you say, what are you getting in your CD? Oh, I'm getting 3.5%. Okay, well, what if I could double that for you? That sounds pretty good then, right? And to you, that's a home run. You're getting it at 7%. That's a great loan for you. So you can determine that. Again, put it in writing. You want to file the deed of trust. You want to do everything the right way. Your attorney can help you. Michael can help you. You can drop the loan documents, all that kind of stuff. That's just going to make them feel better. They're going to be able to sleep at night. They'll part with their money a lot quicker if they know they're protected. So just make sure they see how they're protected. Okay, so choose the path that best fits your situation. And everybody can read that. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. Right? So, the choices you make, the decisions that you make will lead you to a certain destiny. Okay? In real estate, one of the best things that you can do is have a toolbox, okay, really big, full of strategies. And if you make the choice to study those strategies and learn those strategies, then you're going to have more tools in your toolbox. Your negotiating is going to be better. You're going to get better deals. You take somebody who's a novice, okay, and they go try to negotiate a real estate deal, probably not going to get it. You're going to get it over them just because you know how to talk to people. All right. So constantly get new strategies, new ways of acquiring properties, new ways of finding properties, new ways of negotiating. There's just so many different ways. Get connected. Use this whole REIA to increase your knowledge, to make connections. It's so important to be here if you really want to do real estate the right way. One, because you're going to interact with other people that are trying to do the same thing as you. You're going to come into contact with people who've done it, who've been there and done that, have knowledge that you can just ask. It's free knowledge. We actually even did away with our VIP program. We have a little VIP program where you get discounts for our sponsors. We're completely doing away with it. It's totally free now to come to the REIA, okay? And we ask that you would use our sponsors, okay? They're giving you a discount. I don't know if y'all knew that or not, but all the sponsors have a discount. Michael's got a discount on legal fees. Cooper's got a discount on fences. Sean, I don't think he gives discounts. I'm not sure.
No, I change the premiums. I charge you extra.
But I will tell you this, he does have fantastic rates, and we use it a lot. So there's just so many connections you can make here, and in fact, that's how Joe and I met, as through REIAs. And you never know who you're going to meet. You never know who, the last thing meeting people, you can also do deals with people. You can find deals here. You can connect with other people if you don't have money. That's how Wendell got started. He connected. Tell your story real quick, just real quick. How you got started?
Okay. Put it on the spot. Years ago, I just didn't have any money, and I was not able to buy real estate because I didn't have any money. And it just finally flipped one day. I don't actually need money, and so I actually went through cabins years ago. And well, actually, how I actually got started, I partnered with someone who had money.
Yeah.
And that's how I actually got started.
Yep. So there's partnerships here. There's great resources. So again, the app, y'all all download that. Those are some great calculators. We worked really hard on these calculators to get them where they need to be. And But they will help you walk a property. You can just put in the information and it'll spit out maybe what you need to offer. I mean, they're really, really good, and all of our sponsors are on there. So thank you guys for being here this evening. We'll network a little bit. I think Wendell, we're going to go, any more deals out there? Were you going to talk about that? Or,
Any more deals? Did you find your addresses?
Yeah, I can pull them up.
Okay. Well, let's just, since you're the only one to look deals, if y'all want to know these deals, y'all go see Jerry.
yeah, just go see Jared. But thank y'all for being here.
Post them in the app on our community board.
Oh,
Yeah, we can do that too.
Absolutely. Come talk to me.
All right, you guys network and enjoy your evening.